Okay, let's dive right into Genesis chapter 6. The source uh, kicks things off with humanity growing, spreading across the earth. Daughters are being born. Seems pretty normal, right?
Right, standard population growth stuff. But then the text throws in something really interesting.
Yeah, this part. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. It just sort of appears there.
Exactly. The source doesn't give a ton of detail right then, but it's definitely placed prominently. A key event.
And boom, right after that, we get these figures introduced. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and they're called heroes of old, men of renown.
Hmm. It's significant that these renowned figures pop up right next to that union. It definitely sets a certain kind of scene for the world back then.
Yeah, this is where it gets really compelling. Who are these guys in this context?
Well, the chapter pivots pretty quickly from that. It sets the stage for a major turning point in the narrative, focusing on God's view of things.
Right. The source brings in God's perspective and a decision about how long humans will live. It says, "My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years."
So a limit is set. And the reason given in the text is, well, it's pretty bleak.
It really is. God sees how great man's wickedness on the earth had become. And not just actions, but every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time.
Wow. I mean, that's total corruption, according to the source. Just constant negativity.
And the text emphasizes God's emotional response to this. It says the Lord was grieved that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. It's presented as real sorrow.
Yeah. Deep, profound grief. And that grief, according to the source, leads straight to a drastic plan.
A really drastic plan.
Yeah.
God says, "I will wipe mankind from the face of the earth," and it includes animals too.
Yes, men and animals and creatures that move along the ground and birds of the air, the reason given, for I am grieved that I have made them. The text even says God will destroy both them and the earth.
So that's the situation. Total corruption leading to this plan for total destruction. But right there, the source gives us a twist.
The pivot point. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord.
Noah, he's the exception. Described as a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time.
And it adds that he walked with God. He's set apart. The source also mentions his sons, Sem, Ham, and Japheth.
And just before God gives Noah the big instructions, the text reminds us why this is happening. It says the earth was corrupt, full of violence.
Yeah, it reinforces the idea that all the people on earth had corrupted their ways, just hammering home the point about the state of things from God's perspective.
Okay, so then comes the plan for Noah.
Yeah.
Build an ark. Specific instructions, right?
Very specific. Cypress wood. Make rooms inside. Coat it all with pitch, inside and out. Really detailed.
And the size. The source gives dimensions. 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high. That's huge.
Massive. And other details too, like the roof design, a door in the side, and 3 decks lower, middle, and upper. It's like an ancient blueprint.
So the purpose of this giant boat, preservation, right? God talks about a covenant.
Exactly. God says, I am going to bring floodwaters to destroy all life. Everything on earth will perish. But then the promise that I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark. Noah, his wife, his sons, their wives.
Saving the human line through Noah and the animals too.
Yep. The command is clear. Bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive. 2 of every kind. They'll come to him.
Preservation of all life, basically, or a remnant of it.
A remnant, yeah. And practical stuff too. Food. Take every kind of food and store it away. For Noah's family and for the animals, they needed supplies.
Makes sense for a long confinement. And how does the chapter wrap this section up?
Simply, but it's powerful. It just states, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Complete obedience to this massive, almost unbelievable task.
So Genesis 6 really lays out this dramatic arc. You see humanity's fall into deep wickedness, God's sorrowful judgment, and then this very specific plan for rescue centered on one man, Noah, and the ark.
It's absolutely foundational. It tackles these huge themes, sin, judgment, divine selection, preservation, head on. It paints a picture of why, in the source's view, such drastic action was needed.
And just looking only at this text, it tells you a lot about how this source views humanity's potential for evil, but also God's response, not just anger, but grief, and then a path for a new beginning.
Right, a very stark view, but with that element of hope, or at least continuation, through Noah.
So a final thought for you, listener, maybe circle back to the beginning. The source mentions the Nephilim, these heroes of old, men of renown, right before describing the overwhelming
Yeah,
wickedness.
what does their presence, these figures of renown, suggest about that world? The same world deemed corrupt enough for total destruction? What kind of renown was it in that context? Something the source leaves you to think about.